Hello, you guys. Welcome to Empowering Wives Power Hour. Empowering Wives Power Hour is a transformative broadcast dedicated to equipping wives with invaluable insights for their spiritual and personal development. Through our engaging content, we strive to empower women to become powerful and confident wives, offering them essential information that will ignite positive transformation in their lives. You guys, I want to welcome you. For those of you who are new to this channel, my new subscribers, welcome. Be sure that you check out my website, www.empowerwives.com. If you have been blessed by my videos and you would like to work with me one-on-one, I am available through my coaching program. So you guys, before I get into today's topic, I have a few announcements that I just want to clear before we get into it. And that is one about my Empowering Women Spiritual Growth Mentorship Program. Let me tell you something. If you have not heard about it as yet, I want to tell you that this is a unique and transformative initiative designed exclusively for women who seek to enhance their spiritual well-being. So if you're out there, you've been struggling over the past couple years, you want to grow spiritually, but you have just been running around in circles. Let me tell you something. You want to be a part of this, okay? We have already started, but everyone got a chance to map out their spiritual plan, what they will be focusing on this journey. We talked about spiritual disciplines, which helped everyone to understand things like prayer and fasting from a different perspective. Okay, that was powerful. We'll also be talking about fasting. Then we'll be going into a fast. That way everybody will get to experience fasting again from another perspective. And if you want to know what that perspective is, of course you'd have to be a part of the mentorship. We will be teaching Bible study, okay? So it's not going to be like a usual Bible study. Everyone will get hands-on training, and we'll be teaching about different ways that you can study the Bible, and you would get a chance to just decide what you like, right? Because it's difficult to study the Bible because a lot of people find it boring, but there are multiple ways that you can study the Bible, and I'm going to show you the different ways, and then you can decide what you like better, what suits you. So today's broadcast, let me tell you something. This is a very interesting broadcast that I'm doing today because I feel as if that because of so many trials and tribulations that many have going through as women, as wives, we tend to, kind of like go under the cover or in a ditch and we lose ourselves, right? Anybody can identify with that. Just you feel like you've lost yourself over the years. Well, let me tell y'all something. I want to encourage somebody today, and I hope that this is an encouragement to someone today. And I want to find out who am I talking to, because I don't know who I'm talking to, but I know that you're out there. Woman of courage, where are you? Where are you? So it says here in Deuteronomy 31 and verse 6. It says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you." Okay? Courageous is translated from this Hebrew word. Nah, you all know how I go with these Hebrew words, but you got to get it anyhow. It's called, I think it's almats, which means to be strong, alert, courageous, brave, stout, bold, solid, hard. Okay? Be strong and alert. Be strong and brave. Be strong and stout. Be strong and bold. Be strong and solid. Be strong and hard. A lot of times we surrender our courage because of situations that we are going through. That's situations or circumstances, past or present. And so what have happened is, at one point in time, we had a whole ton of self-esteem. We had a whole ton of boldness. We had a whole ton of strength. And then we're hit with something, and then all of a sudden it is as if we have surrendered that courage or that strength that we once had before, or that strength or courage that we thought we had before. One thing I would tell you today is that you can surrender to God, His will, His plan and purpose, and still be courageous. Okay? So not because you have gone through a situation or circumstance and now you're on this journey where you're really seeking God and you feel as if that courage, that strength, that boldness that you once had, you have to give that up. Right? You can still seek God, His will, His plan, His purpose, and still be courageous. In fact, because of the fact that you are surrendered to God, seeking His will, His plans, and His purpose, this is actually a crucial time to be courageous, right? Because let me tell you all something. People will think because you save, you're soft. I don't know if you guys understand what I mean by that, but I'm from the island, and I'm not saying, be your old self, but be that strong woman of God and still have courage, okay? Be that woman of God and still be strong. Be that woman of God and still be bold, okay? So let's look at Esther, right? You all know the story of Esther. Esther was an orphan. She was raised by her cousin Mordecai, and she eventually became queen after catching the eye of the king. And the reason why the king was available, because his current queen, she decided that she was going to dishonor him. Okay, and so now this opened a door and made the availability, or it opened an opportunity for another woman to now come and take that place. Okay, so and Esther was that other woman, and she was the woman that she wasn't boastful. I think that according to what I understand the Bible, she was simple. She was not flashy. I think that she was a very wise woman. Now, here it is. During Esther's reign, a wicked man named Haman rose to power. Haman despised the Jews and convinced the king to issue a decree to exterminate them all. Now, here in his plan, Mordecai, who was Esther's uncle, he urged Esther to approach the king and plead for people's life. But here is the problem. Even though that was her husband, she couldn't just approach the king. Right? Approaching the king uninvited was strictly forbidden and punishable by death. But as we look at that particular story, we understand that the lives of an entire nation depended on Esther's courage. Okay? And mind you, having courage doesn't mean that you are automatically jumping into things, because Esther was afraid. And actually Mordecai had to convince her and remind her that remaining silent would not save her, and perhaps she had been made queen for a reason. Many of you are in this situation where you're trying to be quiet, you're trying to be subtle, and let me tell you something. I'm not meaning this out of control loudness. I'm talking about boldness. I'm talking about courage, the courage to win, the courage to fight, the courage to stand, the courage to be victorious, the courage to prevail. And that courage has to be backed by action, right? The Bible says faith without works is dead. So yeah, you wanna be victorious, you wanna win, you wanna be bold, but that have to be with action, right? And a lot of wisdom. So let me be Mordecai for a second. In this hour, I want to act as Mordecai, and I want to encourage you that you are going through what you are going through for a greater reason, a reason that you probably can't even imagine, think, or fathom, because you're looking at where you're come from. You're probably looking at what you're been capable of in the past, not capable of, and you have already discredited yourself. But the reason why you're going through, because God saw it fit. He saw you qualified. He saw you as the person that he believed that will do the job. Right? In Genesis 45, it talks about Joseph, right? Joseph, as we know, was a man, but actually he was a young boy, and he had a dream, and he dreamed that he was going to rule. He saw his, brothers bowing to him. He saw his father bowing to him. But let me tell you something. He didn't see the pit that he had to go in. He didn't see the false accusation. He did not see the prison that he would be imprisoned in. All he saw was that particular dream that God had shown him. As a matter of fact, if you guys ever heard this, never heard this before, the Lord will show you the end, but he ain't gonna show you the middle, right? And many of you have like this sense on the inside of you that there is more. As a matter of fact, that's frustrating you, because you see that God has something great out there for you. You see that God wants to do something great in your life, but you just can't begin to fathom what you are going through. You can't fathom this journey that you're in, because it don't match up to what you have seen. But God gonna show you the end, but he ain't gonna show you the middle. The middle, that's the process. And we have to go through the process. And just like Joseph went through hell and back, but we all see that it led to him preserving the life of not only his family but for others. And because of what you're going through, you're being prepared, you're being preserved, you're being trained, you're being shaped, you're being molded, because the Lord has selected you to be the remnant on the earth to preserve your people. As a matter of fact, some people you preserving, you don't even know. Genesis 45:7, it says, "But God sent me ahead of you to preserve for you a remnant on earth and to save your lives by a great deliverance." Let me tell y'all something. I always testify, and I tell people how, I always say over 10 years ago, but Lord have mercy, that had been over 15 years ago by now. But over 15 years ago, actually 17 years now, because my baby is now, my middle son, who was not born at the time, he is now 17. So, okay, 17 years ago, when I began to go through major trials in my life. As a matter of fact, before that, I've always seen me do, I've always had like visions of me doing great things, like ministering to crowds, I always had like these visions, right? And I began to, feel excited about that. I was working in ministry, I was serving the Lord, and, my heart was filled with so much joy because of what I was seeing. But here comes now a trial and a tribulation and affliction that I had not seen coming, okay? While I was going through that, many of you weren't married. You weren't thinking about marriage. Many of you, actually, you probably was in primary school or elementary school. Y'all wasn't even at the point to be dating or anything like that, right? But here it is now. You find yourself on my YouTube channel. You find yourself listening to my broadcast, encouraging you and helping you along the way, because I had to go through what I had to go through to prepare me to be in a position to help you today. So that's what is happening. And in the story of Joseph, Joseph went, from the pit to the to the palace. My God, he had rose into power. He was the second in command to the king. My God, he encountered false accusation. I don't even know how long he was in prison. But he encountered false accusation. I couldn't even imagine you innocent at heart and feeling just depressed because how did I get here, right? I know many of you are feeling that way, but I'm coming to you to be Mordecai today. Remember that, to encourage you and to remind you that God is allowing you to go through what you're going through for a people, right? He is sending you ahead. And you may not feel that you're ahead because you're looking at your life and you're feeling like this never gonna end. It's never going to, you feel like this the end of your story. But listen, it isn't the end of your story. You just beginning. And so Joseph now went ahead, and now because he was in the place that he was in, the Lord gave him wisdom that caused people to live and to survive a very, very difficult famine. My God, some of you, the Lord is just preparing you in such a most powerful way. I mean, look at your life. You can really say that I am not the woman that I used to be a year ago. As a matter of fact, you ain't even got to be a year ago. Some of y'all ain't even the same woman you were 6 months ago. But not because you are now into this focus of surrendering to God, you cannot give up your courage. Okay, you still have to be courageous. The enemy is coming at you. He's coming at you like listen here, coming at you with everything he got, because he is trying to get you to the place where you surrender your destiny. He wants you to surrender the will of God for your life. He wants you to surrender, and you can't surrender. You can't give it up. And it's going to take courage to go through what you're going through. And so I am speaking to the courageous woman deep down on the inside of you, and I want to tell you, it's time for you to rise up. It's time for you to rise up. It's time for you to be bold in this season of your life. It's time for you to, I know the hurt and the pain that you're going through. I know you cry day in and day out, but you got to take control of your life. And a lot of us are out there, we're praying and asking God to change this and change that and fix this and fix that. Lord, don't let this happen. Let me tell you something. And you find that God is not answering. God is not answering not because he don't want change to come to your life. He's not answering simply because the change that you are looking for is in your hands. The change that you're seeking for, that you're believing for, it's in your hands. You have the power to change things. You have the power to change things through prayer. You have the power to change through your daily activities. Listen here, your life will change the moment you decide that it's going to change. Because when the moment I got up and I said, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, I began to take active steps that ultimately changed my life and put me in the place where I'm speaking to you today, where you're hearing me today. My God. Someone blessed me the other day. She said I was about to give up on my marriage, and I came across this channel. I asked her why she gonna give up on a marriage, but I ain't hear a response yet. But that blessed me, because listen here, the thing that you're going through, right? What you find just a difficult situation. You feel as if you're going through this, and I know you're getting mad in your heart because God, why I gotta go through this? You get mad in your heart. That's the very thing that God is going to use for your ministry. Right? That's the very test that you're going through right now is going to be your testimony. And let's look at Esther. This had to have been, some thousands of years ago, and we're still talking about that courageous move that she did. She went before the king without an invitation. Okay, that could have cost her life. But what she said, if I perish, I perish. Oh my God. Listen, I come on ahead to preach, but I just want to talk to the courageous woman and say today it's time for you to rise up. Esther said, if I perish, I perish. Many of you are afraid to fail. That's why, you're not making any steps. There are some things that you probably could do and you're not doing it because what if it don't work? What if this don't work out like how I think? What if I waste my time? What if I waste my money? What if I waste? Let me tell you something. That fear is hindering you, because what you're going through is meant to prepare you. right? It's meant to shape you. It's meant to mold you. You don't want to go through this for nothing, right? You don't want to go through this without learning. You don't want to go through this without growing. You don't want to go through this without changing. And growing and changing is going to take activities that is going to cause you to change. Renew your mind, renew your heart, renew your spirit. It's going to you got to go and seek after information that may not be relevant to what you're going through. But let me tell you something. This is the time, and this is the space. I mean, you are ripe for it. You're ready to receive like a sponge. But that fear, come on now, let me know in the comments if I'm talking sense today. That fear, what if I do that and it don't work out like how I thought? What if I make this move and it don't happen like how I think? What if I waste my money? What if I waste my time? What if I waste my energy? How am I gonna look? How am I gonna feel? Listen here, that is fear. And the Lord has not given you a spirit of fear, but of love and a sound mind. So you have to rise up, woman of courage, and move forward. You must advance, right? You have to renew your mind, right? You have to take control over your life. What that looks like is not detailed in this particular video, but this is the starting point to encourage you to be okay to do things and to step out there and be involved. Now, remember, now I did a video some time ago that you gotta fight silent, right? So not when I talk about be bold, I'm not talking about be boisterous and be out there. Oh, I doing this and I doing that. No, sometimes you gotta do these things without announcing what you do. You gotta just make up in your mind that this is my year for change, and this is the year that things are going to change in my life, and not let anybody know, but let them see the change. Right? Let them say, oh, wow, what change? Or things change. Or, oh, I ain't hear from you. What you been up to? You been changing things, right? Because it's in the power is in your hand to make the changes that you want to see. You just got to have the courage to do so. You just got to be a courageous woman, just like Esther did, and said, you know what? I'm gonna fight for this. I'm going to stand for this. I'm going to believe for this. And if I perish, I perish. Remember I told God, I said, God, if you can't fix this, this cannot be fixed, and I will be okay with it. That was my moment of, if I perish, I perish. But look at God. He said that all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord and according to his purpose. Now listen here. I know we like to quote that scripture, but you got to be in that surrounded. You got to be the one that love the Lord. And who are the ones that love the Lord? Not us who out here acting how we need to act, singing the right tone, talking the talk, but they walk. No. I'm talking about the ones that love me are the ones that keep my command. This is the word of the Lord. I ain't talking about the ones who out here acting like they are God's servants and they're not. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about those that are serving him with his whole heart. And if you're in that place and you said, Meltoria, I got work to do in my heart, I got work to do in my relationship with God, this is your time now to work on that. You're so focused on your affliction, your trial, and what you're going through, and you're not giving time to what would really change that. You're not giving that any time. And so take this moment. We're still at the beginning of this year for you to make up in your mind and said, you know what, Meltoria, let me focus on God. Let me see who he is. Let me seek his face this time and not his hand. Because listen here, the word of the Lord is true. The word of the Lord is sure. It is yes and it is amen. And he seek to perform his word. So there is nothing that he has said that is going to be unturned. So if you want to be a part of that, make sure that you commit yourself to the Lord, surrender to him with your whole heart, and lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your pathway. So I am standing as Mordecai today today, and I believe that this is going to encourage somebody to for the woman of courage to arrive. Just let me know in the comment, I am a woman of courage. That's a declaration, an affirmation that you could start with today. I am a woman of courage. Listen here, you guys. Thank you all for joining me today in this Empower Wise Power Hour. I hope that it's been a blessing to you. Let me know in the comment. Let me know in the comments. Okay, I am a woman of courage. Blessings, y'all.